coffees in hand?
Oh, of course.
The big 4.
Cheers to my coffee brothers.
Cheers, friends. Going for a walk. Bang. With lots of time to go for a walk. Grab a coffee. Sat down here for 5 minutes. And here we are.
Sounds like time well managed.
We're on time.
Every time.
Heck yeah. How did we all manage our time this week?
I was pretty poor this week with my time management. I'm so far behind on things, it's crazy. But that's okay. It doesn't happen often, so.
Same. Yep.
All right.
The watch doesn't help.
That makes 3 of us. That's okay. Yeah, I wish I could have been a little more efficient with my time this week. That's for sure. But that's okay. Things happen out of your control, and you just manage, right?
Yeah. Thinking back on the entire week, horribly done this week. Yep. Same boat. Way behind on everything that I meant to accomplish this week.
I think so. The biggest thing I think this week that held me back was planning a normal week and having circumstances out of my control. Sometimes there's just those things that just affect you out of your control, and I think part of managing your time is making sure you can take care of yourself as well. Because and then you're going to put another week behind if you can't manage to recover after 1 week. So I know that's impactful for me. Going into next week, today will be a nice reset day. Start with an on-time event. Start hitting some goals.
Yeah. For me, today is going to be a catch-up day. So not a reset day.
Catch-up day? Okay.
Yeah, same. It's nice, though, like you said, start off. Like a lot of people don't start their week till tomorrow, but I start mine on Sunday. So having something scheduled that I made it to on time is that's a good starter.
We're happy to have you here, by the way.
That's lovely to hear, let me tell you. Happy to see both you guys, too.
Perfect. So is there a certain part of managing your time that either of you want to share you struggle with? I was maybe going to start with what gets us behind, because we're all good at writing. Anyone can write a list is kind of my thinking, right? We can all write a list and put down times.
So I structure mine by block. So I'll say, between 9 and noon, I want to do these 3 things. Between noon and 4, I want to do these other things. And between 4 and 9, I'm going to do my final step for the day. And between 9 and the next day is wind down time. And I think that's probably the only thing I don't change from my list. Is after 9 o'clock, I don't care. The world could be on fire. I'm not dealing with it till the next day. And if the building burns down, the building burns down, and we'll clean it up tomorrow.
Gotta have that cutoff time, right?
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, others have it later. I like it earlier, just because it also gives me time to wind down and relax before bed.
Okay. I like this.
I don't think I have a cutoff time.
I had to. Otherwise, I would be 4 o'clock into the morning and then just still going. I had to give my time, like, respect myself as well in my time management, because I'll let, friend comes knocking at my door at midnight, come on in, let's go make a coffee, let's talk about what you got going on. I'll continue that on and on and on and on and on until my cup is empty from last week. So to prevent that, I cut off a time. It's like after 9 o'clock, if you need me, you best be in the hospital, because that's the only exception to my rule, is if somebody is dying. If not, push it till the next day. You can catch me tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. You can send me a message and we can schedule from there.
I like that. I pack my day so heavy all the time. It's so hard with online life, because you need to make a better schedule would be easiest, so people know when I'm going to be on and when I'm going to be off. But I also spend so much time online. It's almost like, what's another 5 minutes for, someone that just was a little slower on their day? You can get so caught. But I find my time management goes out the window. I find the majority of it is just because of the live environment. To my own fault, right? To my own fault. I just find the encouragement is the dynamic of a live influencer over, a union job would be like the best contrast to, like, from my experience, right? Where it didn't really matter what you were doing. 5 o'clock, you're going home. You could be in the middle of tightening a bolt. You're going home. So it was interesting. If you want to compare those two things, where you take a vehicle that can wait and maybe a person couldn't.
It's something that you wouldn't expect in the music industry, because you think they're creators like us, like similar to what online people do, right? They just kind of, whenever it happens, it happens. But I watched an interview with somebody that worked with Eminem. They said they were talking to him like after hours, personal. Okay, so what time do you want me at the studio? And he showed up 9 o'clock, but took breaks, and then 4 o'clock came and out the door. Like, track's not done, out the door, but it's not done yet. But I'll see you tomorrow. So he structured his time like that, like to the T. It's like, I got family, I got stuff to do. So, like, this is my job.
Smart.
As successful as he is, and all the stuff that he does, and you see him all over the place. Okay, 4 o'clock. See you later.
Wow. It's interesting. Forces you to be productive, though, too, when you've got, some people work really well under pressure if they've got a window to work.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's an interesting perspective for some people, especially for someone that, relies on the continual production for success too, right? But if you put in that structured time every day, you're going to get a structured result too.
It's also interesting to hear it from an artist. Like, artists are generally like, don't interrupt the flow or that type thing.
Yeah.
It's
Huh. That's interesting. Even for someone who's creative. Yeah, and I think schedules are an important thing. I think for anyone, regardless of, even if it's you could be a restaurant worker that works split shifts, right? They work that over lunch, over dinner kind of thing. Still technically, like, have a schedule as much as it. I think it's important to mind the schedule and stay organized around it.
Yeah, routine and schedule, there's a difference as well. I think it's almost like schedule has to take importance over routine.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like, you have to have a schedule to get a good routine.
That's the egg or the chicken, which comes first type suggestion. Other people will have different opinions, but just thinking about it quickly with no other input, it seems like having a scheduled time allotment is more important than the actual routine itself, because you can vary that. There's arguments both ways, but
They're both about the same for me. They kind of go hand in hand almost, right? Because eventually, if you do the same schedule week after week, it becomes a routine.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we were just. Yeah, we were saying. You almost have to have that schedule to create that routine. Like you can have a routine, but it's on a schedule that creates the routine. Interesting perspective. I never thought about it that way. Never thought about it that way.
Kind of get that same feel like when you work a 9 to 5 kind of job, right? Because you go in 5 days a week at the same time every time, and you leave at the same time every time.
Yeah, interesting.
I think the schedule side of it, like the timed allotment, dictates the routine. Because if they change your shift type thing, that now you're trying to figure out, well, when do I do break time? When do I go do my run to get my stuff or my lunch or whatever? So I think in life that does the same thing, right? If you don't set aside the time first, then your routine is, I think the routine comes second, because you add in or delete things as you've allotted the time for it based on, what makes sense efficiency wise. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But both ways, there's arguments for both ways. It's like which is affected first when you start building yourself up, physical health or mental health. Well, if you work on the mental health, you feel better and you want to work out more. The other way is you want to work out more, so you start doing that. Well, you feel better anyway, so it affects your mental health that way. So there's arguments for both.
But it as a streamer or a live creator, though, like it's pretty sporadic on when. Like, I don't think you can definitively say, like, I'm going to be here Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because it's going to be kind of dependent on, like, how busy the platform is and those kinds of things. So how do you guys deal with, like, burnout? Time burnout for being random?
I go through that right now, especially when like you can just anyone like can relate to a business being slow. So like, what if you had that opportunity of those extra couple hours that you're open all of a sudden? Like a lot of businesses will close down because the operating costs rise if there's no business, but the operating costs are lower, so it causes you're the operating cost. So you get stretched naturally. I find you kind of don't have a choice if you rely on it for income. You don't really have a choice. So you don't really get to, you might have to take a morning off that you'd normally be present for if it was busier, if the store was busier the day before, so to speak.
So you mean like, so if we had a really good night in here, the next day you might have appointments in the morning instead of being online and pushing. Is that what you mean?
No, quite the opposite. It's like when things are bad, I'll stay longer. If things are good, you stay, but then you still have to like operate your normal schedule to keep, even though it burns you out, you still have to kind of show up that next day and still do that same thing. That's what burns you out. Is just even though you had a good day, that doesn't. It's like if a store had record sales, they can't open 3 hours later the next day. I'd say that'd be the biggest thing. Can't stop production just because of one good day, and that gets misinterpreted on this app a lot because your income is rather public. That affects who wants to come and shop the next day. People can affect the amount of time you have to put in just naturally. And that's holidays, that's anything, right? Very inverse schedule to life.
There's not really any way to predict when it's going to be busy on here and when it's not. It's so random, so it's very difficult. I spoke to a creator 2 days ago, and I just assumed based on what it said in her bio that and the amount of followers that she did it full time. She did not. It was her part time, but she had scheduled time. Which is like, yeah, I religiously try and stick to my schedule on here because I have a full time job. And would I leave that full time job? I don't know. Would I do this full time? That would be a completely different rework of my life and a rethink. And she now, whenever she's on, if I'm on, invites to have a chat as well. So I mean, it's nice to see. But I assumed when I talked to her, what's it like being a full time creator on here? Because trying to gather information. She's like, no, I work full time. So I had to look at her bio and see that, yeah, she, regardless of how busy it was, and she mentioned it was really busy the past week, or really slow the past week. During her scheduled times, maybe she was going to change the schedule. So it is, it's very hard to predict, and whatever you have in that time allotment depends on that, right? If that's what you're doing for income or for what you've scheduled to do in that time.
How do you guys handle, let's say you had an appointment, like you had to go draw blood or go to a doctor's appointment or a dental appointment or something like that. Do you naturally try to schedule them outside of the times that you're normally live, or do you kind of choose the next available appointment and then just determine, like, okay, I just won't be live at that time because I have this appointment? So always curious about that.
I'll let you take that one.
I have no choice. I have to schedule around people. It's like closing down a business in the middle of like, it's like me having like an appointment at like 5 o'clock and then not able to open the restaurant for dinner. It's like you have no choice. So it's like you just have to know that, like, if you can't, you can't. But usually business will suffer if you choose to directly interact with or basically like intersect with a busy time.
So then what determines, so I guess my question is, how, you're live all the time. So how do you make that work?
I know traditionally 11 to 4 will be like your slowest time in 24 hours. 11 to 4, 3 to 5, 3 to 6 in the morning. It's like there'll be only like 2 real big time slots where there's like huge dips, right? So that's just been traditionally like time on the app. That's always like, so anything after like first thing in the afternoon, like right afternoon for me is usually a perfect time. So if I have anything to do, that's just from experience, knowing that it's just part of people's lives, right? Most people have more time to waste at work in the morning, and then by the afternoon, it's, 5 o'clock's coming. I got to get stuff done. So you find a lot less people in that lunchtime to mid-afternoon. You get the biggest dip I find in traffic overall, generally.
Yeah,
So
so
that's how I deal with it.
yeah. See, for me, it's not my full-time thing. It's just something that I do. So if I have other stuff that's scheduled, like this takes a back seat. It's fun when I can include it in things. Like I have to go to an appointment in a different town, or when I'm traveling where I normally don't go, and the scenery is nice, I'll do a lunch live from there. Or if it's not too busy and I have some downtime, and I think it's something people will like or enjoy, like I'm just going to sit there and listen to music or talk on the phone or do something anyway. So I'll include people in that. But like everything else takes precedence over this because it's not a full-time thing for me. So I schedule my life and then my free time, which because I'm single and I work full time, like my other businesses are kind of self-sustaining. There's very minimal input, so I have a lot of free time. It's just me and the dogs. So I'm on here a little bit now.
Yeah. What about you, Bipos?
Well, I asked the question because I've been contemplating doing the like full-time lifestyle environment, and these are questions that I've been asking my own self. How am I going to handle when I need to go to the doctors? How am I going to handle if the dog needs to go to the vet? So on and so forth. That's why I ask those questions, because I'm contemplating what that would look like for me. So what I'm hearing is, find the slow times in your live on average. Yours are 11 to 4, you said. Mine may not be. Who knows? So find that time that's slow usually, and then book your appointments around those times. So then you're always live for your audience when they're available and when the flow is good. And then that way you're able to still get everything you need to get done in the day, but also still be here live. And you don't have to be here like 24/7. You just have to be here for when your audience wants you to be here, kind of thing. That's from the information that I was given. That's how I perceived it to be.
Yeah. And I mean, you can go after the other way to indicate, right? You go and see where the top 10% of the people that on this app, if you're going to judge like this app in terms of traffic, you just see where they are, like when they're online, when they're present. They bring so much traffic to the app that when they're not around, you have a substantial dip. Like it's been a known thing. And so, I mean, part of it will always be a little bit per creator, but I find there is general trends that once you're in those trends, like, I would never believe that after midnight was, a prime time to be on live. But, if I want to be aggressive and push off of reset, like, a good hour and a half of just solid having fun, usually brings in a little bit different of a crowd than I would have expected. And that's something that I was told from bigger creators, yet I didn't see the traffic there until more than 2 months, almost 3 months of listening to what's working for other people. And then you just find you do a lot better during those times. So that's also part of the app, is that trust that you're going to be there at that time. That takes time to build.
You definitely have to average it though, because it's very inconsistent. Like there's a bit of a consistency, but it's more of a, like you said, couple months of averaging out the time. That's something I don't pay a huge amount of attention to, but I've heard other creators talk about it, and you guys, and just from what I've seen, like even over the past month, the amount of times that I've been accidentally consistent with the times I've been on here, and it's just schedule permitted. That's what time I got on and stayed on through probably longer than I should have sometimes. I've noticed huge amounts of traffic on certain nights and then none on others. Well, not none, but very minimal. And it's week to week. Just huge variables. Like the consistency is really hard to predict. And consistency on my side would be same format, but consistency of traffic and the amount of different people, it's so hard to predict.
Yeah, and that affects. Well, that's my one thing, right? Is you have to at your best manage your time, right? Through these, and figure out how how you manage your time around all these things, right? Because I mean, if you're not getting the traffic you're gonna get, do you stay on? Like, just like anything with a business, right? Or do you close early? That's always a question that I find I have a little bit of an issue with.
But if you close early, sometimes you miss out on a big deal, right?
100%.
That's where you get caught with staying on too long, though. I think when without that schedule that you've set for yourself, and that's something that we've all talked about a little bit. Like you got two or three people, core people in the room, and then somebody else comes in just to say hi, and you're like, okay, I was going to leave 5 minutes ago, and then somebody else drops in, and that's that where scheduling that time to shut down is so beneficial. But it's like, okay, I'm going to maybe try starting later and then going a bit later might be the solution in that case. Try that for a week or two or three and see if that works. And if not, go back. But it's getting caught in that thinking, oh, what did I miss? Or this person came in, because I've had that a couple times in the past 2 weeks even.
Do you
Oh,
find
can you talk about this?
do you find that weather, like season, affects like your views and the room's capabilities? Summer versus winter, so on and so forth.
100%. 100%. Seen way too many cycles. 100%. How much easier is it to use your phone inside than in the sun outside? Just like that's like one easy, you know, like for every single one of us, right? How easy is it to scroll on a cloudy day versus sunny day? How many more sunny days do we get, especially in Canada, right? In the summer, outdoor activities, you get a lot, right? Whereas in the winter, you get more loneliness. You get a lot of people that are more lonely in the winter, right? Less interaction, less involvement with others. Work, home, home, work, home, home, grocery store, home. Very less time spent. Well, in the summer, if you're to see someone in a parking lot, likely you're gonna chat with them for a couple minutes longer than you will in the freezing cold in the winter. Just naturally, right? Your human interaction just shrinks without us knowing, but it just gets us in micro bits of time to the point where we do look for more human experience during that. And I find during the winter, it definitely, like Christmas holidays, huge thing, right? Huge influx of traffic. That's something traditionally I've always noticed a lot. March break's the opposite. Lots of people go away. You kind of also have to think about like what would people be doing, right?
I haven't been on here long enough to notice that. I know that a lot of people were inside this summer, like myself, because the summer was so hot. It was just like people didn't want to go out, even though it was sunny. It was just too hot.
Hmm.
This is the first summer in a long time where I spent more time inside in the air conditioning than I did outside. Because you work out in it through the day, and you're like, I don't want to spend time in it after that. Like I've suffered through that all day, and now it's still hot at night and sticky. I want to relax, so I come in here, and I was on here. But that wasn't the case for. Geez, I can't remember in the past 15 years a summer like this.
Felt pretty hot, that's for sure.
Although I think we've had less forest fires this year than we have in previous years. So I find that really interesting that it's been super hot, but it's
Huh.
been less.
Oh, okay. I actually don't normally keep track of that stuff. That's interesting.
I have to, because where my other property is always where forest fires are.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess Ontario didn't really have that many, but the other provinces sure did.
They did.
Hmm.
It's wherever they focus that big plane.
What are your like boss, what are some worries like about if you were to get more into live hosting? What are some fears like around like time management because of the very dynamic atmosphere?
I have seen on my travels through live scrolling that I've seen people do like 14-hour lives, 15-hour lives, 20-hour lives, just so that they could break even, they said, at the very beginning of their streaming careers. And that worries me because I won't. I will refuse to do, like, again, with the back to the very beginning about my time management. I'm going to be refusing to move that needle. And I feel that because of my stubbornness about removing that needle, I'm probably going to lose out on a lot of potential new connections and possible revenue because I'm going to cut off at a certain time and not move forward past, like you said, midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, right on reset's a really good time to push. I probably will never. So that being said, that puts up concerns for me of like, how successful am I going to be as a live stream creator with those hard line rules for myself.
I can say there's success around it, you know, on your own time. Like when you set your own schedules and stuff, there is success, but I find the chance of success to fall substantially.
Yeah.
That's the hard truth that I find about everything that usually goes on is that's when you look at at the end of the day, right? It's I look at it more of a bit on a business sense, to kind of but let's look at it as just time spent first return, right? And yeah, like 20 hours is just that's not you don't maintain that long. That's my red flag. 12 is a lot, 20 is just not sustainable. Maybe 3 months, maybe six, but you'll burn out and burn off. Like I think that's the big thing is you don't just burn out, you won't come back. Like it'll just burn your brain so hard that um, come close to an irrecoverable stage. From experience, I may or may not know about just endlessly just seeing how hard you can go for how long.
I honestly don't think this app is structured to support that. Like, you can't do the everyday, this is my life, hang out with me all the time thing. It's not, unless you're somebody already famous or you've done something that's super viral and you continue to do it. Like, your daily routine is something exceptional. But for everyday content or stuff that doesn't drive that kind of traffic through, it doesn't support it. Like, I've seen other creators do it and they'll stream, but it's like they do that from the time they wake up right to the time they go to sleep, and then there's a short window where it's off. But it's like they've got something that's given them that traffic driven to them already, some sort of celebrity status or something that they've done to attract it. Whereas if you're starting off with just a regular platform, I feel like that's not something that would support that kind of time spent. Like you said, it's a real quick recipe for burnout. Even I think at the 12-hour spot, that's so tough.
Just makes me trigger shy. right? Because I'm currently full time at a job. After those hours, I don't necessarily have to work because like that's my job, that's my budget, that's my schedule. If I change that and then go to live streaming full time, it's kind of leaving it a little ambiguous. And then it's like it kind of throws my whole entire world upside down. So it makes me a little uneasy thinking about that and what that'll entail. So on the opposite side of that, I'm thinking about like how can I incorporate what I do every day and then also include lives with it. So like if I'm working on something, then I can just go live and be like, hey, this is what I'm working on today. But then that also is a little sporadic too.
Yeah, it's hard to niche on stuff like that, right? Because people expect you to kind of almost, especially with like projects, right? Certain stuff with technology, people like almost want to be like, where are you on that project, right? And then almost want to like follow you along, and then it becomes like well, you're only working on it once a week or like once every couple days, and it's like people do, they get attached to wanting to check in to see what's going on, like what's that next step. They might not watch the whole process, but they want to keep checking in, and then if you break that check-in process, right, then it's hard to keep momentum's part of it, right? Once people have that habit of checking on you every single day for 30 days, right? 60 days, 90 days, it kind of becomes part of their routine, part of their check-in, right? So part of it's that, right? How long does it take you to make a new habit? So it's kind of what you do, right? With people to come say hi to you in your room, like it's part of how this app's kind of designed, right? It's why they changed all like the team, not to bring the app up specifically, but it's why they changed all like the fan club stuff. Keeps people in your room just a little bit longer. Have to click a few extra buttons.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of check-ins now. I was talking about that with some of my team as well. Make sure you get it all done. Make sure you do this. But something you touched on, Bite, was like exactly the way you should start. Because you have an allotted time. So it goes back to the original topic. You already have allotted times for certain things. You just adding in one extra component in that time allotment. So section out a spot and take people with you. This is the time. I'm going to see what the traffic's like and then go from there. See if that actually makes sense. And you have that luxury of varying that time throughout your schedule in the day of, I'm going to add this into my routine. And does it make sense? And then if not, should that be my full-time routine afterwards? Do you see success? Do you have people following you around? But now is something that you've done through the day, something you can do at home on your own. If that's a thing where you're going to leave your full-time and do this full-time, is that something that you can also recreate? Because if you build a following based on that, they're going to want to continue to see that, right? So that's something you got to consider too.
Yeah, a lot of time management with live hosting too, because like especially full time, right? Content creation, I think, is more than 50% of your time. Because I think quality content, that's something that I struggle with in my managing time. It's because I should be making way more content than I do, like at a higher quality. Maybe not necessarily, it doesn't have to be like a post a day, but if I made sure that there's 3 posts that were solid a week, that'd be really helpful. So that's another thing to consider with time, right? Is planning all your content around discovery. Content's a huge part of your discovery once that gets going. Some people have a second account now where they're clipping, right? They literally have someone that clips just to help funnel extra, and that's another portion of time management, right? Someone either has to do it or you have to do that. I think content's the biggest thing that gets overlooked long term.
I made a commitment a while ago to do a post a day. And I think that was right around our first our first talk in the booth, or just shortly before it, and I committed to myself to do one a day for a week, because one of the things I talked about was make sure you commit to do something this month, learn something new, or do something every day. So that was one of the things. I was going to make a post every day for a week, and I only managed to do 6 out of the 7, and it was time spent on creating the content. It's, how many takes do you do before you're happy with it? And like, it's a 30-second video or even less sometimes, and you're like, why is this taking me so long? Because an hour into it, you're like, I keep screwing up that word, or the lighting's wrong, or the music's not right, or something, and you're like, I've got an hour into making this little clip.
30 seconds of video, you have hours sometimes into. No, I think that's important though, is to recognize that does take time. That does take time out of your creating, right? And then that's something that needs to be maintained, especially long term. One way or the other, you need to be able to go to that page and know everything about you. So using that time that you're on live, using the time that you have in between, and figuring how to roll those two together all the time is important. That's part of that time management, I think, big time as a creator. I think a lot of people struggle with it because, I did my post, right? I did my due diligence, and you look at the post and it's a screenshot of their face with some text over it. And I'm like, would you in 10 years from now, would you look at this post and be able to get value, And that's, I've had that talk with many creators where it's like, you can't tell yourself you did the bare minimum and that's going to be up to the par of the people that are really busy, right? We look to the top of the board to see how these like great creators are doing, and then they put in some serious time into content, that's for sure. It's kind of how they got there, a lot of them. Some people monetized on other platforms to come here. Now they just come here to hang out. So that's the other thing. Content's a huge thing. I think the live portion of it is going to also, my other worry is lives with time. People spend less and less time on social media sitting in the same place ever than they used to. And I think the next thing is going to be more live shopping. So it'll be more high intensity, low time input, but a high intensity during that time. And you'll be out to sell a product or something, right? As many times as you can. And then that's your live environment. Like how long, shortest amount of time you can open up a store, jam as many products, right? You see that with some influencers, they run their lives like that. So what they do is they manage their time around generating an audience. And then around that audience, they're constantly putting up sales and TikTok shop stuff and pushing their products. And by the end of the live, they're more worried about pushing the product than they are profiting off of, gifts and other things that keep TikTok itself alive. So that's another angle of managing your time around looking to profit, to take care of yourself. And it's hard to judge your time too, right? Around how much time do you spend making content to bring in new people? Or do I just go live in? I don't monetize off my content. So other than a funnel, right? But we all hate an empty profile.
Yeah, and what's the biggest driver? Is it content before the live or content after the live? Like when do you put it up? Or is it a mixture of both?
Before.
And I think
always before.
I think it's dependent on creator though.
No, well, like TikTok says, like that's like their platform to post and to go live within half an hour of that post kind of thing. And what it does is it kind of like, you'll see that post. You'll often see this. You'll see someone put a post, and within a scroll or two, you'll catch their live. And they've timed those together and it becomes a routine. And then it works well. I know a couple of creators that have been doing it for a couple of years. I'm just not one that'll schedule a post just before I go live. I schedule a post around when it's done. When it's done, I try to post around that time of the day to get some traffic around the post, not to get traffic around my live. But I go after community over hype, right? Because once the hype's gone, who's left? Usually nobody. So it's a different strategy for myself personally.
That's something I thought about separately up until recently, and I still kind of do. It's an afterthought. Like the content on the page is what I was feeling at the time, and it's not to drive to my live. But the past couple of days, I thought, well, why don't I just make a post and I'll put it on my story, and then I'll go live, like within a certain window. And that, because I haven't done it long enough, I haven't noticed any real difference. But I'm going to keep trying to do that. I think as a pattern to start to see if it helps. But I got caught the second day doing it, running into this is taking an awfully long time. I'm supposed to be live already. I still have to make dinner. Like, I'm just not going to make a post.
Yeah.
So I got rid of the post and just went live and made dinner, because that's usually how I start anyways. But it's funny how you run into that when you're like, okay, I'm over on time on this. I'm going to sacrifice this because I don't like the quality or something about it. I'm just going to go live.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to manage content creation and live entertaining time. Definitely always struggled with that. What's good enough for a post? You can always put it on private later and remake it. That's the other thing. And as soon as you change it enough, it becomes a fresh post. That's the other part of it. You know, you can make something, it not be so complete. You post it, it comes down, you put it on private, you don't delete it, and then you put up just enough changed about it that it's a fresh post again. And now you've improved on something, and you've got 2 posts that have had time to push. One's been taken down, but in that time, you've had 2 separate posts that have had kind of feelers. But again, right, it's managing your time around putting up so much content and testing, because like A/B testing all the time is a big deal. Like what works, what doesn't, and then keeping track of it, adjusting. Content becomes a big game. A lot of I struggle like scheduling any time around making content. I can never tell you how long something's gonna make or how long something's gonna take. And then I have to go live. So, well, hit the save button. We'll come back to you.
It's about enjoyment though too, right? Like it's something that you have to do because you do it full time. But if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to want to do it. So it's got to be content that you want to take the time to make.
Yeah.
It's got to be something. So there's so many factors involved, and that's what takes the amount of time. Because if you care about it, it's I like to do this. I want this message or this content to be received well. I'm happy with the way it looks. So that's all time that you can't. It's very hard to schedule that. Okay, I'm going to spend 5 minutes on generating it, and I'm going to 5 minutes on filming it, and then 5 minutes on editing, and then it doesn't work like that. It has to be it could be like that. You could structure it like that, but man, that would be difficult to implement on something that's so creative. You could
especially now the AI stuff. The AI stuff's even more because I can't predict that. I can film something and at least I know it's for sure good. The AI stuff, it's like you make scenes at a time, right? It progresses through the video. Not everything gets generated all in a line. It goes this way. So like first video has to complete to make the second, to make the third, to make the fourth, and then they have to be blended and edited. So there is a stepping process, but yeah, 100%. Like just staying up with content and that. And if you don't finish a piece of content in time and get it out during the time when it's a trending piece of, there's always got to be something trending that leads into you, right? You walk that needle. And if that trend starts walking away from you and it's all about you, you're still always posting about your genuine self, but you lose the traffic because you took too long to get your post in with the mix of everybody else pushing that idea that you that you vibe well with. And there's not much you can do other than just admit that, I ran out of time.
Yeah, I'd rather it be a quality video than like pushed just because I just send her, you know? I know a lot of people, creators, do that just because of that problem with time management. They go, it's good enough. And they post it, but then it like doesn't match up, it doesn't line up, it doesn't, like, there's glitches in it. Like, it almost makes me feel like, why did I just waste 10 seconds watching this? You know? And then that puts the whole creator for me in like do I really want to continue following them if they're going to put out garbage? Also my problem.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we all chase numbers, right? It's something that's on every video, right? How many people saw my video, and how many times I've just posted stuff for me, and 6 months later, it all of a sudden gets 30,000 views. And I have no rhyme or reason why. I don't even know what's going on. I posted for me in the time. It was a high quality piece of content. And then all of a sudden it just ramps up to 30K on its own. Like, I just see likes and comments and everything going crazy. And you're like, but the only reason it went viral randomly was because the content quality was there. So as soon as there was enough traffic, that was the only check mark that you missed, right? You might not have hit the right time to post, or the busy time for people to see it. But if it's a quality piece and it's meant to get pushed, I have never not seen a piece of content get pushed, especially on this platform. It's something very interesting. YouTube and other platforms, I find they can fall into the weeds and you won't find them. TikTok's got this weird ability to have stuff just pop up and get pushed again. And there's like, it just comes out and it goes. I think it was an Office clip that I had, and it had 700 or 800 views for like a year. Like, I think since the day I posted it, in the last like month, it's gone to like 30,000. That was like the one recent one. But it happens over and over. Like, every month I find just one just moons.
I think that has to do with the re-release, or the new spin up that's coming. So like the hype's coming back for it.
Yeah,
that might be part of it.
But like that, if that content wasn't quality, right? Even if it was in the search, it would never bubble up. And that's to remind everyone that just because you put out a quality piece and it didn't get the views today, right? You truly believe that's a part of what resonates with you, it's gonna. And that's why I think like the time I spend on my content, like, it's worth it. You take an hour off your live here or there, it's happened. But that long term, people see that high quality content that you're capable of. People have redone that clip, but half the quality.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a schedule for content creation, because you already have a schedule for when you go live, sometimes looser than more set. But definitely a way forward would be, I'm going to allot this amount of time for content creation and stick to it type thing. That way there's the minimum amount that you've set for yourself to put out to correlate with your live times. It benefits everybody all around, community and yourself immediately. As soon as there's a consistent flow of content coming to the page, and then the schedule for the live is more consistent, I think, it benefits everybody, because then the team knows when to show up, and you're pushing out more and more quality content regularly, and you're happier about it, and it just shows up in your lives. And I think it's a good rule to stick to for not just us, but all creators. Schedule that time to make sure that you're not just pushing that save button and doing it for later, but make sure that you get that minimum that you've set in your head to push out to correlate with the times that you go live.
Yeah. And that's something I want to try to work back to do. Is I used to batch. Used to make a lot of content on like a Monday, Tuesday. And then a lot of it would be mostly done throughout the week, or done. And then you just slowly grab your content and slowly post it. And I would do more heavy heavy days of doing the same, because I mean, there's some posts that follow the same theme and format over time that I've posted. And so I find content that follows the same theme, the same edits, the same style, and I can get a couple pieces done all at once. And so I'll find my workflow has like 8 or 9, maybe 10 pieces of content doing this all the time. And they topple up to the top as they finish, and then it gets exported, and then the next one, and then it gets exported, and then it slowly gets pushed down. But I usually have about 10 pieces moving at the same time. Like if you have an idea, instead of writing it down, right, I go collect some, I collect some ideas, and it's like throwing it on that whiteboard, and then that whiteboard is, okay, that's number 9. Shuffle number 9 above number 8 to work on it. And then, okay, well, number 8, I found a sound. Oh, that should go good with that. Dump it into a folder. And, because sometimes it's raw, sometimes it's clips, and because I do such variety, right? That's the other thing. I've always been a variety creator, which I don't recommend to anybody. It's very heavy on time. Very heavy.
It's odd to do that too, because your community doesn't know what to expect, right? There's no pattern of content. It's the way you think about it too, right?
When last year, I was on a better schedule. Like before June, like I would say January to June, I had a really good. You could expect you'd see a positive post, a joke post. Like I had a few different in rotation. I had a way that I was even posting them. They were in a very specific order, and that was working. And so you knew, if you didn't know exactly what you were going to get, your brain was creating an expectation that you would just get used to because it was a pattern. Rather than a complete randomized, the variety had a structure behind it. And I did do that purposely, but there's a lot of pieces of, I started to travel and everything, and you get out of routine, and here we are a year and a half later. Well, a year and a couple months later.
I guess that goes along, like, back to what we originally talked about, or we touched on a little bit, making the schedule and then adding other stuff in. And when that does deviate, how do you prioritize the stuff? Because that's the biggest thing, the priority. Like the original question from Byte, like, how do you prioritize what goes in and what comes out? And when you're traveling or your life changes, how do you rearrange it around this? Like, what do you prioritize more? Content creation, going live, scheduling the actual. Do you focus on exactly when the traffic's going to be busy, or do you just kind of keep doing it loosely and add in the other stuff as you go? It's a very difficult thing to factor in, especially doing it full time. It is not an easy algorithm to read.
Yeah. Managing your time, it's just so important, and it's constantly changing, right? Constantly. Having more data would be awesome, but that's where I'm pretty lucky. I mean, I technically have a strategist that, we're supposed to go through that stuff, and they see numbers a little bit on a bigger scale, but apart from that doesn't really help you much with your time. Truly. Time's on me. How I spend my time, that's on me. How much I sleep, how much I spend eating, cleaning. There's day-to-day chores too that have to get done every day, right? Time management's a huge thing around live streaming, and that's why I think even myself, I become quite a lifestyle streamer during the day. So, I could be doing quite a variety of different things randomly.
Just picturing them now. Laundry with Zen. Cooking with Zen.
It's happened. It'll happen again.
Gardening with Zen.
Exactly.
That's why I mentioned it to you, because you could do stuff at work and then transition to bringing that home if that's what it ends up being. But like I came into one of your lives and you're fixing your dishwasher.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, got to do what you got to do. And I mean, some people, even if it's not always looking to profit off of everything that you do either. It's like, people see that you're not just going live and sitting at a chair all day just because of how I want to be as an influencer long term, right? Want to be that influencer that shows my best person as possible at every challenge that comes my way as well. I feel like that's an important part of my journey that I continue to take more and more seriously. That's for sure.
I tend to think a lot when I do dishes, and I would love to actually share that with people, but I don't. I've watched other people doing dishes on live, and I don't have a dishwasher. Well, I do, but it's not hooked up. Um, so that'd be something that I would enjoy having those conversations while I'm doing dishes. But I will not watch somebody doing dishes because the audio is so crap from all the noise of the dishes and the water and everything. I don't want to subject people to that because it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
So why would I put people through that?
But you could decide, for example, like let's say you were like, I really want to do thoughts on a live while doing dishes. There are things you can do. You can go on Amazon and go get yourself a USB-C mic that has special like phantom pointing and these kinds of things. Like you could go get a microphone that's not that expensive, pin it to your shirt, point it up towards your mouth, and you won't hear the sounds of the dishes. Like there are things to overcome, things to think about. So like if that's what you truly wanted to do, spending a little bit of money there can help you, right? Get to that point, and then it'll turn around and be like, how come you can do the dishes and we don't hear it, right? And then now you've got something else to talk about. Well, I did this, I did that, right? To make sure that the noise wasn't too much.
Definitely important. They're actually they've came actually with some pretty good. There is some pretty good quality microphones actually that you could get to. Like some of them even have like noise canceling and stuff too. So they're really. I mean, spend a little to a lot.
I mean, you could even pull the Britney Spears and have like the big honking one with the big puff at the end, like while you're doing it, sing like a rock star.
Uh-huh.
You laugh, but it's a thing.
Just you wait.
Well, it's solutions, right?
Yeah.
And then you can manage your time better too. Because if that's something you want
look pretty good in that outfit too.
The outfit will get fulfilled off the Amazon list. You won't have to buy that yourself. Put up options even.
Just picturing it now, the dad's like, if you want this noise to go away, click link in bio. Clank, clank, clank. First thing clears that microphone.
I have 17 outfits at my door.
Yeah.
I just put up my P.O. box. Didn't even put up a wish list.
Opens box nurse's outfit. Oh no. What are they implying here?
Don't knock it till you try it, right?
No, that's I think time management's a very like open topic that sounds like we all struggle with pretty good. We all have our own little things we know we got to do each day, but I think for me, one thing I need to work on is trying to follow Bite said, block out time. Start putting it in a little bit chunks, make it a little simpler for myself, rather than making a list. Lists are great, but how often do we get to a list and then it's like, where was that list? Or I didn't get this part of my list done today, and then you feel like the whole day's gone because you got 6 out of 7 things done. You got 6 things done that day, but that seventh thing, I didn't complete my list.
And that's where I was going to side note with that. By doing it in smaller little increments, you get little wins, right? So instead of looking at that 7-item list and then getting pissed off that one out of 7 things didn't get done today because of time management, you've got 6 good wins in there. Right? You can celebrate those, and that one that got pushed to tomorrow wasn't important and wasn't meant to be that day.
It's when that 7th thing is pushed off, and you see it transition into week 2 and 3, and it's still on the list, and you're like,
the haunting.
Is that really important? Why is that on the list?
I find. Sorry, go ahead.
All you.
I often put the 7th item, the item that didn't get done the following day, as a priority one for the next day, so that it doesn't linger. Whatever that task might be, if it was meant to be on Saturday and it didn't get done Saturday, it is now a priority one on Sunday.
Like that thinking. That's some good thinking.
Yeah. Doesn't always work out that way, but like as much as you can, then you do. Right? Like for me, some of the things that are on my priority one list, I actually need to go buy parts that I can't find. Like they're just not in stock right now. So I can't do those ones because I don't have the things to do it. So then I push those ones. But everyone else that I can do as a priority one, then I just start nailing it off.
Like it. I like it.
Well, I think that's time allotted as well, right? Like how much time do you spend on that number 7 item? If it's a big time consumer and it's been pushed for that reason, even though you priority it the next day, when's that time cut off?
You break that into little wins then. So you take that 7th and you make it 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, right? And then you break them into smaller chunks and then you still chunk them down so that it's not such a tedious task at the beginning. For example, like if you got to clean your house or apartment, but it's huge and it's a tedious task for you, you break them into rooms. Okay, I did the kitchen. I did the kitchen and the bathroom today. Now tomorrow I got to do the living room and the first bedroom, so on and so forth. So then they're not as tedious.
And do that.
That's really aggressive, though. Like the other day, I was supposed to clean the bathroom, so I cleaned the toilet. Today, I'm cleaning the tub. Like it should break it down a little bit.
Still getting it done though.
Sure are.
Backwards though, because I still need to bathe the dogs. So why I'm cleaning the tub now, I have no idea.
All right, I got a question. So what's one task that you often find that you struggle with, but still haven't planned much better for? So some
For me would be like sweeping and mopping the floor. Because I have 2 dogs that shed like crazy. Like I could duplicate a dog in a couple hours here. That is probably my number one thing that drives me crazy because I hate having like dog hair and stuff stuck to me all the time, but also is a pain. And I haven't come up with a great solution besides like shaving them, which is not okay, to deal with that particular problem.
love it.
Along the same lines, but dusting. I didn't realize how dusty the house was.
Oh yeah.
I've got more dark furniture now than I did before, and I turn on the lights in here and realize that it's dusting, and I just don't. I do it when, I notice that piece, but it's not something I ever schedule, which I should. But it's not. It's along the same lines as what you're saying. My two dogs, same thing, shed like crazy, and it's on necessity because I almost never go upstairs because I'm getting it ready for other stuff, but I go up there and realize that I'm not sure how there's dog fur up there, but there is, unless they're going up there when I'm not home. But yeah, cleaning that stuff up, it's actually scheduling time to do it, making sure that that's part of the routine. It's more of a, oh, well, that's accumulated quickly.
Cleaning. Okay. Both is with cleaning. Okay. Mine's just planning. Something I know I struggle with doing and haven't really fixed it yet, but actually just planning out my time. I think that's like one of my like poorest things with time management. I'm good at usually sticking to, okay, I got to do this. If I have, like, for example, like when I set times for stuff, I'm really relaxed when it's with other people. For example, like doing this stuff, right? Like to me, I can be a very wishy-washy person, but as soon as there's something like I got to do, it's like, it's like 5 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or like whatever. When it's other people like directly collaborate, like in this environment, I find myself very easy to, okay, I got to do this, and I lock in. When it's myself, I feel like I'm quick to let myself, like I know I'm going to let myself down for time management. I think that's a giant flaw that needs to be, that we brought up this topic of time management. I think that's something that I need to continue to look at and say, hey, you got to figure out the ways you can do better. We've got 24 hours in a day, always. There's some set parts to life that once you start working out some pieces that, you only have so much time to spend on certain things. And so if I start just taking it at a backwards approach rather than starting off with, I have all these things to do. Maybe I should be sleeping at least 6 hours. I should be planning time for myself an hour a day. I should be, and then this is what time I'm left over and create a better schedule out of that. I think that if I can improve on those things, that'll help me tackle the area of time management a little better, because that's something that drives me nuts. I can stick to a schedule very, very closely for one thing, but something that's only with me, even though there's other people, like, there's an audience involved, it just doesn't take the same weight. Doesn't feel like the same consequence, I guess.
That's a good segue to my question. I hope you don't mind if I jump in there, Bite.
Go ahead.
To both of you guys, what systems are you going to implement to improve on that moving forward? If that's something that bothers you, how are you going to make sure that your time management for stuff that you need to do for yourself, not just with other people, is better moving forward? Because it not only benefits you, it benefits everybody, right? So what systems are you going to put in place to better manage your time moving forward?
For me, I've started using a draft plan and then throwing it into AI, and then telling AI, this is my plan for the day. How balanced is this plan? How can I improve on it? Are there things that we can change or make me more efficient? And then just read its output. I started that Thursday. And it's been interesting because it's made suggestions of stuff that I've not thought about, or changing a priority for more flow sequence. Instead of having to go out of the house 6 times, you could do it in 3 times because of like starting at the store and working away in a certain direction. I found that it ended up giving me a little more free time to do certain things that I would not have necessarily thought about because of making me more efficient in my day. So I'm going to try that a little more for me, and just kind of continue on the next 2 weeks and see how that goes.
Like that. It was really the only way I could probably do better, right? Is to have everything down in a list of things I need to do, and then sort them out a little bit better by prioritizing. What do I want to see the end of my day look like, and then maybe take a judgment of that instead of just putting all my tasks in a cloud. I think that's often what I'll do. I just, in my head, I'm very good at like not putting stuff down on paper, right? Like I don't really put down meetings and stuff like that on paper. A lot of things, right? But they're there. And I think part of it is I leave everything in a cloud instead of organizing it a little bit better. So maybe to find a tool or something to help me visually map things a little bit more physically, one way or the other, whether it be AI or just, use just literally grab a calendar and just block a bunch of stuff off, like do a weekly calendar and just, you know what I mean? Just even do something simple like that, right? I mean, you can take a picture of that and put it into AI if you want after that. But I think visually mapping one way or the other, whether it be on the computer or a piece of paper, visually mapping out my week. Because I know what I want in the month, but by the week or by the day starts, I think, to get more blurry. I often focus on the big month, and then I don't know how I'm going to get there.
Well, why don't you just start with that? Throw your month into AI and tell it to break down per week.
Yeah.
Right? As you said, all you got to do to start using AI is just start using it. Well, maybe that might be a goal you set for yourself for this week. What do I want for September? And then have it break down.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be a good idea for me. For sure. And then manage my time around it. So Dad, what are you feeling? What are you going to do this week?
I'm going to try exactly that because I never even thought about that. I thought about using it, and I've been recommending, to other people that are going through issues, legal and, trying to figure stuff out life-wise, and like, just pull it up, put it into AI and see what happens. Gives you a different perspective. I never even thought about using it for scheduling. So I'm going to definitely try that. I don't like being told what to do because I like having stuff in it. But if you look at it from a different perspective, and it's, an assistant is trying to help you along the way, then yeah.
Use it as a guide. It's not telling you what to do, just giving you suggestions.
Yeah.
Whether you follow them or not is up to you.
Well, I think I'm stubborn. I like to figure stuff out on my own, but I never even thought about using it for that.
Yeah. I like that. Got a question for us, Bite?
I already gave you the question before.
Oh, okay.
We answered it like near the beginning.
Okay. Oh, we got this is a good talk.
What is something you've, besides the last thing I just said, is there anything that you've learned today for perspective or an idea to help you each of you with time management? Anything said today that's different than what you would normally think of and then maybe want to try to implement?
I just don't award Bite your ability to just set, like cut off. Like gets to a point, I got my schedule, I got my things that I got done, and then that's it. Like gotta just let it be, hang up the hat. Gotta find that time, gotta find that moment to just hang up the hat. I've struggled with that my entire life. Working at a union shop was where it really gave me the, hey, like this is like you have to. And I still, very resistant to that. And so I think that's one thing that echoed today was you got to hang up the hat. You got to just, this is what's done for the day. Be proud or not, right? Honestly, like, sad to say, be proud or not, right? But you got to hang up the hat while you're doing it to have that mark so that every day has a pulse of measurement rather than seamlessly blending every day together and just always be on this grind where you don't feel like this is the stopping point before we have a starting point again. You can't have a starting point if you never stop.
Just remember, too, the little wins that you do for the day as well, right? Like, you may not be happy with the end result, but the little wins will help with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the big thing for me.
Yeah, the little wins are something I talk about a lot, so it's extremely important. Like from the mental health aspect, getting up is a win. Brushing your teeth is like making your like normal everyday stuff. So adding this stuff on top to congratulate yourself for knocking stuff off the list, little wins, definitely. That should be something that people focus on. Like just if you get one thing done, focus on getting congratulations to yourself for doing that. Like that's important, especially if you're struggling with day-to-day stuff. The fact that you've said it multiple times is like, I hope people understand that that's super important. Like there's people that don't get up because they don't have it in them to get up. So you get up and you start your day. Make sure you congratulate yourself for the little wins, like in everything. And if you can add more and more to it, awesome. I'm gonna start doing what you mentioned with the AI. I'm gonna try that out, and that's something I never even thought. So that's something I learned. Like I wouldn't even have crossed my mind to go, hey, how can you make this efficient, or what does my day look, or week or month look like? So I'm gonna start playing around with that for sure.
Lovely. What about you, Bite? Learn anything from the chat?
That I should just start doing, like posting the videos and not necessarily worrying about direction, because that's something that holds me back a lot. Is like, what do I want to post about? How do I want to post it? And I should just stop caring necessarily about that and just worry about posting something that's good quality and get it out on a regular basis.
Always easier said than done.
Of course. And I just got to start doing it. I've never done it. Right? That's the thing. I am blue blood to this. Fresh, just starting out. And, it's a lot to learn and take in. And part of it's just doing.
Definitely don't overthink it. Yeah.
Love this. Well, that's pretty great. I think it gave us all something to think about and take away.
And I hope that someone in the audience, would help them too. Right? Because it's not just about us, it's about everyone who's listening. So I really hope that at least somebody took away something from this.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any thoughts about what potential next week might look like for topics? Does anyone have anything they might want to think about?
I think we touched a bit on it, and that I think that's dependent on maybe what one of us or all of us is going to do this week. Are we going to focus more on content creation? Should we dedicate a day to talk about that? We kind of touched on it, but it was more along the time management. Somebody's going to start making it. Somebody's going to start making more of it before they go live, and somebody's going to start doing it more consistently, I think, or at least attempt. Might be something to talk on, unless you guys think of something different.
So just to clarify for my brain, are we talking about like a day in a life of a live streamer kind of thing? Like, what did we do? Did we reach our goals? How did we get there? Is that what you mean?
That could be an angle as well. I think if we left it more open, though, how about a week? Because it's a week in between, a week in the life of something like that.
Okay. You could do something like that. Sounds good. Any closing? Got anything? Any closing statements?
Just remember that no matter what happens today, that you're worth it. Right? You're alive. You're an inspiration to someone out there. Even though you may not necessarily feel like you're an inspiration, you are. And just remember that from now and for always.
The dad?
Yeah, you're definitely somebody's reason to smile. So remember that.
Just going to remind everyone to put in some good solid work and do your best to hang up your hat when you're done. Be proud of your day. That's what I got. With that, everyone have a great week. Everyone next week. Smiles,
Take care, guys.
everyone. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.